Now, government will, in the coming days, announce a comprehensive plan to deal permanently with the perennial flooding in the capital, Accra. The city's mayor, Mohammed Ni Ejaisoa, says the new comprehensive plan will focus on redesigning the drainage system. He made this known after touring some communities affected by the Friday morning downpour. Matilda Omega was with the team and has the rest of the story.
Following the Friday morning heavy downpour, Deputy Minister of the Interior, Greater Accra Regional Minister, in the company of Mayor of Accra and NADMO officials, toured some communities affected by the rains. The first stop was Alajo, where some residents have been rendered homeless due to the severity of the rains. The team continued to slums around the Kwame Nkrumah interchange, where, though not new, buildings have been sited on waterways. They wrapped up the inspection at another flood-prone zone, Odona, near the Graphic Road. The mayor lamented how measures to deal with flooding in the past have not achieved significant results.
Well, I mean, it's the same old situation that we are confronted with. People have built on low-lying areas, built on water courses, and together with the fact that people still dispose of solid waste into the open drains, all these factors contribute to the flooding. And that's why we are looking at the matter holistically. It's important we look at it that way. The knee-jerk approach has never been quite helpful to the people, and we want to confront the matter. I've indicated to you that we want to focus on tackling the problem permanently, because what happens over the period is that once it gets rains, it gets flooded, we invite NADMO and all the major stakeholders. We go around, and then if there are emergency situations, we resolve it, and then comes back again.
He added that government in the coming days will announce a comprehensive plan that will permanently deal with flooding across the country.
The president wants to tackle the problem permanently, and we are looking at the ASDA project. That's the Accra-wide drainage network problem, which drawings had been completed already. And I just want to assure you that in the next couple of days, together with the ministry, we're going to announce to the general public when exactly we are starting that project. That will solve the problem of the whole of Accra. Agency measures include some, pulling down some of the structures also on waterways, and as well as tackling the issues about waste, so that people will not dispose of waste into the main drains. These are issues that are ongoing. However, it may not be the permanent solution. The permanent solution is that, one, the whole of Accra drainage network is terrible, it's bad, and we need to make sure that we invest a lot in it to resolve that problem.
Honorable, we've heard about this before, that the drainage system in Accra is terrible. We want to know what exactly is being done to address the situation.
Well, you've heard it before from maybe the previous government. We have come in just a couple of months ago, and I'm telling you that it requires heavy investment into the whole Accra drainage network. It's not small money, it's big money, and government is working towards making sure that we have that money to be able to meet.
A huge investment to build new drainage system will be the focus of the plan government intends to roll out. Matilda Omega for Joy News, Accra.
Well, Joy News' Latif Idris has been to parts of the city to find out how the residents who are affected by the floods are coping. And Latif joins me right now live from a part of Accra. Latif, where exactly are you and what have you been able to see on your rounds?
Yeah, Israel, I'm at Odona, very close to the Graphic Road here in Accra. You know, the Odona is very close to the main Odo River, which causes lots of difficulties for people whenever it rains. So we have to be here to gauge the mood of residents here after this morning's, torrential rainfall. And if you look up here at Odona, it appears though that it's a bit cloudy, and so people already are packing their wares from their stores because they expect that in the coming minutes the rains could come down. I'm going to be speaking to some residents who were affected by this morning's downpour to tell us how they are coping and also getting ready for yet another rain as they prepare to go to sleep. Hello, you're welcome to Joy News, Mom.
Okay.
Obanya no o quick camera me how feel. Acho buten.
Acho Doris Yankee.
Were you around when the rain started this morning?
Yeah.
And how were you impacted, if you like?
Eva watching me, what it was Jacob of Agbona. It was no about Buena, then if I voted watching me. It was ever watching me. Agbona snakes near knew me, near was a
Snakes.
Near me. Near was a VNA. It was no about watching me. How was Jacob of Agbona? One if he said, what national no if I more fair, it was Shinivia was Shinivia fair.
Okay, so let me try to translate what the woman just said, that the floodwaters this morning came with snakes. So they had snakes in their rooms, and the waters also carried their wares away. They had to escape by going to, where did you mention?
Street.
So they had to, seek for refuge on the street for some time. When the whole thing subsided, then they came back to realize the damage that has been done to their wares here. It was top if you so how are you preparing towards that? So now what, according to what the community members here at Odona are doing, is that they are planning to go to Manchagbona so that if the rain does come down, because already we could feel it, that the weather is changing, and so they want to seek for refuge at Agbona, and if it does happen, they come back following morning to look at what exactly the damage would be. Thank you very much, Mom. Let me try one last person here, Israel, to also get her own view on this morning's downpour. You're welcome to join us.
Good evening.
You give us your name?
Edna Lanyo.
Edna Lanyo. How? So also in Siono, I told you now, then.
Na minifie. Says America, so na semi bibia, minife mi kwa juma. Beba ni kwa so time them say me to me be there pon call me them. Since 3rd June musimi be boy, mo boy. Since 3rd June na so no to ye na 2 years ago. Ya breast a copy mene. So ya nya mo ya bia wo Gov't na no say ye be ye Gov't no pa ma ya ye be we nya free. Enti so ne ye ma Gov't ne ye ma pa na akoye dem o. Ye to me nya hwi ye be pia ko jan baby say ahomachi a ana ndumi e be jan so achi sa kopima tamade be chi an so no betwi ansara e be koye dem enti extra ban pass on bomode no be boaye na we asem we dey di maye. Why?
So Israel Hess is out of appeal. She's appealing to government to ensure that the construction of the drain here is done to prevent any further damage that will be as a result of the rain. According to her, government made a lot of promises to them after the 3rd June twin disaster of flood and fire. But since then, they've seen very little as far as government intervention is concerned. The young ones are also here. They are all... Okay, so what you see here is the snake that the old lady was talking about. So they had these in the flood waters entering into their rooms and also taking their wares away. Now, that is why the people here at Odona are expressing fear ahead of what could possibly be another rainstorm late in the evening as they prepare to go to sleep. Israel.
All right. Thank you very much, Latif Idris, bringing us that update from Odona here in Accra. Elsewhere, in Kumasi, actually, a man believed to be in his 30s was found dead at a Buakwa Menshia in the Ashanti region after the Friday rains that sent devastating floods pouring into major areas in the country. Rasto Sasaradonko reports.
One life was lost here. A young man in his late 30s, we understand, one Nanasari. Now the water level rose up to this level on the wall, and he was
We obviously have a challenge with Erastus' sound, but we will be bringing that to you. We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime. Do stay tuned. Welcome back to Joy News Prime, and we're staying with the flood situation in Accra and Kumasi. We're bringing you that story from Kumasi, but right now I want to share with you some of the images that have been pouring in on social media as far as the floods that happened here in Accra are concerned. You can see one such image here, which we're taking from Twitter. We're using the hashtag Accra flood. So scenes of floods at Shiashi, where you and where are you and what is the flood situation over there? This is just something we're just getting coming through. And this one has a flood situation where you are after the downpour this morning. People just sharing images all over. And here's another such image. It's Friday and it's a rainy day too. Accra floods. Stay safe wherever you are because you are worth it. So you can tell. So here's another one such image. Clearly some vehicles inundated. So there have been lots of people sharing their images all on social media. But going back to the Kumasi story, a man believed to be in his 30s has been found dead at the Bwakomensha and the Ashanti region after the Friday rains that sent devastating floods pouring into major areas in the country. Erastus Asaridonko reports.
One life was lost here. A young man in his late 30s, we understand, one Nanasari. Now the water level rose up to this level on the wall, and he was swimming from this end, according to eyewitnesses, towards this end. Why he was swimming in the flood waters, they say they do not know, because he was not rescuing anybody. So he kept swimming and swimming and swimming towards the side. So he kept swimming, and at this point they realized he was in trouble because he was drifting towards the side. This woman saw it all. Mama, send out huno na udru hano na ojare free ha but udru han send out huno.
Ye mi huno ne se ensuo ne ba sa na na tete adua yi so. Na ensuo na yiri pa nti odru ha na me friend se na na asale. Ti wa wo hwe nyame anim nsuo ayiri we wo koye wa muame. Nti no otuto nsuo ne mu kosa nti odru ha se ne na to no eto ne fa ka na chi. Nti ya huni biem ya huni ne nsuo ne de ayiri pa ye hu bi kura da e wa ha kura se da ye hu bi kura da me gina ma na de da me ya ti na na asale tutom na odru ha nyina me na me friend se na na asale ba bia wo koyi de emmo nti bla me kan che se wa mfi mi kura wo ka kan wo se onana bi de otwa nsuo bi mpoa so one de nsuo bi antimi mfa no nti won de ye de nim se agro bi no odie ampa odru ha se ye hu na na asale biem nsuo ne tie na boys no kohwe no wo hye gotani mu ho no mo twen no mo de no ko nti police fo na abefa na mo de no ko ti na na asale wo ni de aya no.
So in effect, what she's telling me is that at this point, she rather called out to him that Nana Sari, you should stop what you're doing and come back. And his response was that, well, he was using some water deity's name and saying that no river or stream can ever swallow him. And he kept swimming. So at this point, he said he drifted towards that end and they never saw him again. And he is quite shocked at the whole experience. And what she's telling me is that the waters here have never risen to this level. It went up to her neck. And so it was after the water receded that they found him locked up right here, just beneath this surface. That's where they found the body, and he was dead at the time. So the body has been deposited by the police at the nearest mortuary, we do understand. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaridonko, Kumasi.
Now, the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition says it hopes to see the passage of the Special Prosecutors Bill before the end of the year. Speaking at a media dialogue, senior research fellow at the Center for Democratic Development (CDD) and member of the coalition, Dr. Kojo Asante, highlighted inputs made by civil society organizations which they expect to be captured in the final bill before it is presented to Parliament. He proposed, among others, that the position be advertised.
We have to make restitution, basically give back some of the money to the victim organization, so that if the corruption occurred in Standards Board and you are able to recover the assets, there has to be some restitution to that organization. It will create incentives for them also to ensure that when people are committing offenses or corruption, that they will report. We have been advocating in this country for many years to have a definition of corruption, which even includes when you confer a favor on someone. So the current definition is basically using public office for private gain. But that is to the person. What if the thing that you are doing, you are benefiting your brother? So conferring a benefit on another person is itself corruption, but it's not covered by our current provisions. Independence of the office. We really are saying that, yes, you can't get away from Article 88 of the Constitution, but how do you ensure independence of the special prosecutor? One other challenge is to do with the governing board. Now, unfortunately, we wish we didn't have a governing board for the special prosecutor, because as you know, in this country, boards of corporations are like executive boards, you know, that they are basically, they are almost like employed staff members of the, you know, they have offices, they come there every day, they are deciding on, you know, how many pens that should be bought and all of those things. This is the only country where boards behave like that. So.
Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Linda Fori-Kwafo, says the Akufo-Addo-led government has no choice but to establish the office which he promised Ghanaians during the election campaign.
When we did our UNCAC review, United Nations Convention Against Corruption review of Ghana's implementation, we realized that Ghana is not doing well. Everybody knows that in this country it has been very difficult for us to prosecute political corruption. There have been very high-profile cases that we have gone to court and lost. So we are saying that what else can you do? If you are traveling, you always have to look back to see whether you are on course or not. So Ghana as a country and a president has luckily for us promised and actually won an election on the back of anti-corruption. So we have to hold them accountable to it. So ordinarily it would have been best if we were going for having these things covered in our constitution. We don't have that. But we can't wait forever to have a constitutional amendment before we can move on.
Do you know when this will go to Parliament again?
We are hearing it's likely to be passed even before the year ends. I sure we should all be monitoring the process.
That's less than 3 months away.
It will happen.
Now, the Parliament's Constitution and Legal Affairs Committee has concluded work on the Office of the Special Prosecutor's Bill, which government is seeking approval for. The committee is hoping to submit its report to the House. Government is hoping to get the bill passed by next month, so provisions can be made for it in the 2018 budget. Now, 3 bills establishing the Northern, Middle Belt and Coastal Development Authorities were laid before Parliament Friday. But parliamentary correspondent Joseph Poku-Gakpo reports the minority is worried the bills are just a rehash of existing legislations.
3 different bills came to the floor of Parliament for a debate today, the first one being the Northern Development Authority Bill, which will allow for the establishment of the Northern Development Authority, and then the Coastal Development Authority Bill, as well as the Middle Belt Development Authority Bill. Of all the 3, that of the Northern Development Authority Bill raised a bit of controversy. Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu was raising concerns about the very legal basis on which this particular bill is standing, looking at the fact that there have previously been the SADA bill, which they think was not fully complied with in terms of the requirements to allow for such a new legislation.
We know the antecedents of this government. This is not the first time you've hinted of the Northern Development Fund. If you go back to 2008, I was in this house. But, Mr. Speaker, I know that the chairman of the Finance Committee read 1062 well. And, Mr. Speaker, will help you someday to appreciate that. I'm not talking of the bill. I'm talking of defects of a bill which is mandatory constitutionally to accompany why you are bringing in a new legislation. But like the whip said, Deputy Whip, changing the name.
Well, the Member of Parliament for Pru, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, also had concerns about how, when it comes to the Northern Development Bill in particular and the other authorities that are to be established, at the local level, a focus is being placed on constituencies instead of a focus on the district assembly system.
When bodies are created at the meso level, two things will happen. Either the powers of central government will be eroded by the creation of meso-level institutions, or the powers of local government bodies will be eroded. More often than not, the erosion happens at the lower level, and the meso-level structures become another extension of central government. And therefore, in going forward, I believe it is important as a house that we ensure that the provisions of 3560 of the Constitution on decentralization is not infringed upon.
The Member of Parliament for the Afajato area, that Angela Alowate, drew attention to the fact that this is merely a rehash of what was being done under SADA and questioned the very basis for that.
Where are we going as a nation? Is it not time for us as a nation to just continue where one ended and put in what was lacking in the previous one? Are we going to have several of these every time a new government is in place? Several of the bills, the acts. I have 2008 here, that is the Northern Development Fund Act 2008, and I have the Savannah Accelerated Development Act, Authority Act 2010, at 8005. Mr. Speaker, if you go to the objectives or the object of these bills, they are all talking about the same thing. Development.
Well, the majority leader in Parliament, Oseiche Mensah-Bonsu, responded to the concerns and indicated that all of these will be included when the House eventually debates and gives approval for the final bill.
Mr. Speaker, I agree that this endeavor should not fail. This third time endeavor should not fail. If it does, there will be fatigue on both members of Parliament and donors who would not be willing any longer to put anything in the basket of our national development. So I thank members, and I believe that going forward, Parliament is ready, or should stand ready, to partner government in this enterprise.
From Parliament House in Accra, my name is Joseph Opoku-Gapo.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, President Akufo-Addo has tasked the three eminent chiefs mediating the Dagmon conflict to help resolve the matter to ensure that peace will be restored to the area by the time they celebrate this year's Damba Festival. He said government would support with all the resources needed to ensure lasting peace. The president, who is currently in the northern region as part of his tour of the area, paid a courtesy call on the King of Mamprogu Friday. He said the National Health Insurance Scheme, NHIS, is saddled with a 1.2 billion cedi debt, of which 560 million cedis has been paid to ensure the scheme survives. On government's flagship policy, Free SHS, the president acknowledged the takeoff may have been saddled with some challenges, but added government will work to eliminate them. He promised to work to improve the infrastructure in the schools as well.
Who specialize in spreading falsehood and skepticism and cynicism in our country, who never believe that something good can happen here in Ghana. But before their very eyes, good things are happening in Ghana now. The free senior high school is the beginning of many things to come. To begin something, it will meet challenges. And I know that the free senior high school is meeting challenges of infrastructure and facilities. But the Chinese have a proverb that I appreciate very much. The Chinese people have a proverb that I like very much, which says that a journey of 5,000 miles begins with the first step. SHS, and we will continue, and it has come to stay. Year after year after year, free SHS will be part of our educational system.
Now, there's a plan to have colleges of education in the country run 4-year teacher education degree programs instead of the diplomas they currently award. According to a former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, government is also rolling out diverse policies and programs, including the introduction of the National Standards Policy aimed at strengthening the teaching profession. Professor Jofos Mensah was speaking at a ceremony to celebrate teachers at the University of Education, Winneba. Richard Kojunyako has more.
Colleges of education in the country are currently running a 3-year program that leads to the award of Diploma in Education certificates. But thus, according to a former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Jofos Mensah will change in the coming year. The colleges of education will, in the 2018-2019 academic year, run a 4-year program that will lead to the award of degrees. This, according to him, will imbue teachers with strong professional experiences, knowledge, attitude and values to be able to deliver desirable outcomes.
That for the first time we have a national teacher standard that would direct the training of teachers in all teacher education institutions. Now, the Cabinet has approved the national teacher standards, which will guide the training of teachers in all institutions, starting from 2018 October. It's very likely that we have a situation where the colleges of education now they're going to have, instead of a diploma, offering diploma degrees, will offer diploma certificates, will offer degrees.
Professor Mensah adds that to give utmost attention to technical and vocational education in the country, the TVET will no longer be part of the Ghana Education Service.
Now the government is coming out with a new system where a TVET service, just like Ghana Education Service, is going to be set up.
Acting Vice-Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Reverend Father Professor Anthony Afubroni, says the University of Education, being a university that trains teachers in the country, will support reforms in the education sector to achieve the desired results.
There is no better place, even nationally, to host such an important day of the teacher in this country than the University of Education, Winneba. I say that because there is no university anywhere in the world that can say that it was the first to be established solely and single-handedly dedicated to the cause of teachers. So it is the first university of education in the entirety of Africa.
Joy News, Cape Coast.
Now, pupils and teachers at the Richard Akwe Memorial Basic School have been in high spirits today. Why? Because Faustina Kopsing was adjudged the overall best teacher in Ghana for 2017, and she comes from that school. Nancy Emefadradozi visited the school Friday to interact with some of her pupils, colleagues, teachers, and the headmistress.
Established in 1938, the Richard Akwe Memorial Basic School has provided basic education to residents of Agbogboshi, one of the deprived and densely populated communities in Accra. So we are currently here at the Richard Akwe Memorial Basic School, and to be precise, we are in the class that has the best teacher in Ghana, with Madam Faustina Copson. We are in the class to interact with some of her students to tell us what exactly, is special about Madam Faustina that they think made her win the award.
Because she teaches well. If she's teaching you, she'll explain what she's teaching you and you will understand it more.
Really?
If she's teaching, she will explain, and then if she read the thing and you said you are not understand, she will read it and read it again so that you will understand it before she will go to the another one.
Right. She asks us to learn very much and teach us very much. When she teaches, it's very nice.
Colleagues of Faustina Copson, who could not hide their excitement, say she deserves the award.
She's all round. Sometimes we close and leave her here. She will take care of everything, especially our band people. Even the vacation, you will come and meet her here working.
When we need help, we go to her. When it comes to academic work, she's always there. She's on the ground. As a deputy head teacher of this school, she's always there when the headmistress is not around. She deserves it. She deserves it.
I would say she's a hard-working teacher. She understands the children and always take her time to bring them to her side, explain issues to them. When they are in need, they are not afraid to go to her. They just go to her and then she will give them support.
Ms. Copson's colleagues believe they have achieved this feat by dint of hard work and unity.
You need to get a school with a good head who gives you everything you need to do your work perfectly well.
Head teacher with swag, adorable mother, we love you, are among some writings placed in the headmistress's office.
You are really a mother. You are handling us like babies. Now we are grown. And wherever we are going, you follow.
Head teacher Madame Emilia Labi is grateful her school has been recognized.
Since she came, she has been one of my best. She came as a deputy. I can call her 20 times. She still has her smiling face, and she will do accordingly. Call her at home. She's ready to come. Whatever work you give to her, she's ready to come. So it's been good working with her, and I'm so happy for her. That this will really show that yes, she's doing a good job. So she's been rewarded. But I believe God has crowned it. Yes, and my teacher has got the national best teachers.
Though Richard Akwe Memorial School has won several awards, including the recent crowning of its teacher as the best in Ghana, the school has not seen major facelift since its establishment. They are hopeful that the Ghana Education Service will come to their aid soon. Reporting for Joy News, MFR Nancy Dradosi.
Well, we hope that this story will bring some attention, and the award won by the teacher will bring some attention to the Richard Akwe Memorial School. We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime. Now, going back to our top story on Friday's floods, Joy News was learning at least 3 more people have died following the floods in Kumasi. But earlier in the day, a 6-year-old girl sustained head injuries after a wall collapsed at Enyinem in Kumasi following the downpour. An unconscious Nana Jennifer was rushed to a nearby clinic where she was treated and discharged. She was asleep with 6 relatives in a room when a neighbor's wall collapsed on them. Ohemi Teria reports from Kumasi, after which we will bring you that update on the deaths.
Volunteer neighbors spent hours to rescue the victims who have been rendered homeless by the near tragedy. Nana's 43-year-old father, Francis Akwesi, describes their escape as divine intervention.
All that we heard was the sound of a toppling wall. It then forced walls of my room to fall on us. We were lucky. We were sleeping by then. Luckily for us, my youngest son was awake. If not, things would have been worse.
On the roads and streets, the rain wreaked havoc and left thousands of motorists and commuters stranded, crippling economic activity. potholes had widened into gullies as heaps of sand and refuse were deposited on major roads.
The road is flooded. We are stranded at the banks. Our bus nearly got stuck in the flood. Those who helped us push it to safety charged us 20 Ghana cedis. We are appealing to government to help us.
Dabai Ahujo and the TUC Dakojom roads are among the most affected. Vehicles, including the school bus, either got stuck or had their engines damaged by flood when drivers attempted to force their way through the flood. Frustrated victims blame development on waterways in favor of authorities to act as cause of their plight.
The flood has broken the engine of my bus. The road is so bad that it makes driving difficult. Manholes have developed on the road, especially the treaded stretch. Worst of it all, unauthorized structures have sprung up on the path of the water. This is why this area is flooded anytime it rains.
From Kumasi for Joy News, Ohimi Interior reporting.
And Ohimi Interior has just joined us on the line with an update on the death toll following the floods on Friday. Hello, Ohimi. We're told that apparently there have been 3 more deaths. Can you bring us the details?
Minister Simon Osei-Mensah, who is also the chairman of RESEC, this afternoon told some affected areas that the flood has been so devastating. And he mentioned that an additional victim this time around is a people. Someone he described as a child has passed away at a Gov't. And he says people or divers who tried to search for the body of this young child were nearly attacked by a crocodile, though the Ashanti Regional Minister will not give the identity of these people. He mentioned that after that tour, he would visit the home or the family house of this victim. And don't forget, one of Penny Nasari, aged about 45, as Erasmus reported in his report, also passed away at Achimakophobia or drowned in the flood this afternoon. But the third victim, which we are yet to identify, and the exact place where he passed away, is also being mentioned. The regional minister also mentioned this. Let me say that the regional minister paid a visit to Agogo, Sepase, Bakwa, Abakumedi, and others, and then Ajafo. And he also ordered the Achumang Mwabeja District Assembly, the DCE, to demolish structures that are in waterways. He particularly mentioned the Castle of Zion International Church, which has been built in a waterway, and the regional minister he wasn't enthused about the fact that some waterlogged areas are being filled to give way for a new development. So he instructed the Ashimango Bija District Chief Executive to ensure that all these structures that are built in the waterways in the area are pulled down. So for now, we are told 3 people may have died, 2 have been confirmed by the regional minister, but the third person we are yet to get his identity is right.
All right, thank you very much, Ohimi Interior, with that update. Moving on, if it comes down to choosing between her life and her breast, the answer is an easy one for Nana Echa-Asante. She chose life, which is why she decided to have her breast removed after she was diagnosed with cancer. There were difficult times, but she endured, and after 2 years of fighting, she is happy to share the tale of how she survived the disease many people dread. Adelaide Arthur has more.
I was diagnosed on April 1st of 2015. I think initially when the diagnosis came, I really thought it was an April Fool's joke, because I thought, I was like, how? But the journey from April 1st, 2015 to now, I must say has been, it's hard to say it's been a good journey. because nobody wants this diagnosis. No one wants to deal with this. I was diagnosed with something called DCIS, ductus carcinoma in situ. What it is that they notice changes in your breast tissue, changes that could potentially become cancerous or it could not become cancerous. Right now, there's no test to see if it will develop into cancer. So then you have to make a decision between you and your care providers whether you're going to take a wait and see attitude to see if it's going to be cancerous, or you'll treat it right away.
Ductal carcinoma in situ, DCIS, is the presence of abnormal cells inside the milk duct in the breast. It is said to be the most common type of non-invasive breast cancer. It is non-invasive because it hasn't spread to other parts of the breast. A mammogram can easily detect DCIS.
Most times the DCIS is a small area involved, so they'll do something called a lumpectomy and they'll just take it out. But unfortunately for me, the area was big. So even though they knew that part of it hadn't turned into cancer yet, they didn't know if everything else, because the MRIs, the mammograms couldn't tell you which was cancerous. So the only advice they gave me was the only option I had was to have a mastectomy, which is to remove my breast. That wasn't a difficult decision for me because it was a breast. I'd had my kids, they were grown, a breast versus a life. It really was not an option. It wasn't a difficult decision to make. The difficult thing was I going to do one breast or was I going to do two breasts? So I opted to do a double mastectomy. But I was very blessed once again because of where I was and the team that I had. So during the surgery, they remove some lymph nodes to test if the cancer had spread beyond the initial stages. And once again, I was extremely blessed because when I went back for my post-surgical review, my daughter looked at me, and the first thing, that's why I said relationships are so important. The first thing she said to me, she looked at me, she said, "You must have had people praying for you." Because she said the cancer was the size of an orange, but it hadn't transferred, it hadn't moved. Where it started is where it was, even though there had been like a 6-month time frame between when it was discovered and when I actually had the surgery. I was blessed again in that because they could test it right away and see that it hadn't traveled anywhere, they were able to reconstruct my breast. My surgery was about 12 hours, but they took out my own breast, all the tissues, and then they reconstructed it at the same time. It was tough. It was extremely painful. You come home with tubes and it was just tough. But because it hadn't spread, I didn't have to do chemotherapy. I didn't have to do radiation. So once I recovered from the surgery, you ask me how has life been, this is what it's been. I have to go once a year and they do a manual exam for me because really I don't have natural breast tissue because they just took fat from my thighs to reconstruct my breast. So unless whatever they took out, they left a little bit, the chances of the cancer coming back is very small.
Detecting the disease early and taking the appropriate action helped the US-based nurse survive this condition, which could have progressed with time.
Is it more important for you to have a breast, or is it more important for you to live? I understand the emotional, because even for me, like I said, I'm very strong. I had good support. I'm a nurse. Even for me, even now, sometimes when I look at my scars, I tear up because I'm like, wow, But what is important, especially if you're a woman, most of us are diagnosed when we have children. If you're not there, who's going to take care of your kids? What I would advise people who are going through that is to just ask yourself that simple question. What is more important, your breast or your life? I was blessed in that I was in an environment where after 12 hours, I came out with breast. So maybe somebody may say that it's easy for me to say. But I think if I had to choose between my life and my children versus a breast and a man who won't understand or appreciate me for who I am, because he didn't marry my breast, he married me. And if you go through the journey the way every survivor that I know have gone through the journey, we come out better than we were when we even started.
For the 48-year-old, having supportive family and friends made all the difference. The mother of 4 says her experience with the disease has given her a different perspective about life.
It's made me appreciate people. You know, it's made me appreciate relationships. It's made me realize that it's not the material things that matter.
Bye-bye. Bye. And cats.
Now, cerebral palsy is a condition in humans that causes problems with posture, coordination of movement, and muscle tone. Because it occurs during birth, children with the condition often struggle to have a normal life and may even not get formal education at all. As the world marks Cerebral Palsy Day today, October 6th, Joy News Upper East correspondent Albert Sorry takes us to Sirigu, where a child rising NGO is helping children with cerebral palsy to gain back movement in some parts of their body.
5-year-old Emmanuel spent the first 4 years of his life without the use of his limbs. Affected by cerebral palsy at birth, he could not move his hands and legs. Cerebral palsy, commonly referred to as CP, affects normal movement in different parts of the body and has many degrees of severity. It causes problems with posture, a person's manner of walking, muscle tone, and coordination of movement.
So imagine she doesn't talk, she cannot walk, even how to get up. He was not able to get up. So through there we have been coming here gradually. He was able to get up. Even the hand, it was affected with the hand and then the leg. So through there.
So he couldn't move his hand?
No, he couldn't move his hand. And then the leg too. So when we...
Rose Achare Basam, Emmanuel's grandmother, brings him to the Africa's Child Rights Center here at Sirigu in the Kasna-Nankana West District, where physiotherapy trainings are held for children with cerebral palsy. The aim is to, as much as possible, help the children to gain some, if not all, their movements back. Emmanuel joined the program about a year ago, and according to his grandmother, his ability to move on his own has improved drastically. Evelyn here is also supporting her sister's son, who has cerebral palsy, so that he may be able to move about on his own. She tells Joy News the boy's condition is improving. Linda Kugure's story is not too different.
Those days, you cannot even stand up or walk. But just so far as being here, you can now walk and speak small. So I can see changes, a lot of changes here.
Sirigu is one of many places in the Upper East region that used to be known for the belief that children with cerebral palsy were spirits. In some instances, such children were even killed. Africa's Ghana, a child rights NGO, implemented a project that helped to eliminate that belief, and the town declared an end to the spirit child phenomenon in the year 2013.
There's been a rise in the number of cases of lymphatic filariasis in the country. The prevalence rate of the disease in the country is now pegged at 18.4%. Lymphatic filariasis is transmitted through the bite of an infective female Anopheles mosquito, the same mosquito that transmits malaria, putting everyone at risk of getting the disease. Deputy Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Collins Tim, expressed worry over the figure and called for more sensitization and awareness on the deadly disease. He made a statement at the launch of mass drug administration against lymphatic filariasis at Ponyentanga in the Wa West District. Joy News' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Poyentanga.
Lymphatic filariasis is an infectious disease that can affect everyone irrespective of age, sex, or class in society. It is endemic in poor communities, severely debilitating and disabling, and promotes poverty and intense stigma. It is mostly found in rural areas, urban slums, and conflict zones. Lymphatic filariasis is transmitted through the bite of an infected female Anopheles mosquito, the same mosquito that transmits malaria, making everyone at risk of getting the disease. The West district is one of 4 districts in the Upper West region where the disease is prevalent, and due to that was given the right to host the launch of this year's mass drug administration against the disease. The purpose of the launch is to create awareness among community members on the importance of mass drug administration to increase annual treatment compliance. West District Director of Ghana Health Service, Clifford Venn, noted that despite the threat of the disfiguring disease, there are interventions to control its occurrence.
There is yearly mass drug administration with 2 medicines, ivermectin and albendazole, that is given to about 80% of the population. The other 20% of the population that is exempted are the heights that is less than 90 centimeters. Pregnant women, lactating mothers with children less than 1 week, and the seriously sick.
West District Chief Executive Edwin Labidi Sabo urged the people to discuss their old beliefs that persons who are infected with the disease is as a result of their past deeds.
This general belief that you suffer from this disease only when you step on the feces of an elephant or sleep with your mother. Surprisingly, elephants are not common for you to step on their feces. This launch is therefore to educate us to understand the causes and prevention of these diseases.
Deputy Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Collins and team, launched the program.
Looking at the etiology of the disease, it has to do with public education, public health. I am happy that today's program seeks to address that, just to give an audience attention and then education to the masses.
Reporting for the News, Rafik Salam, Poyentanga.
We'll be back with more. Stay tuned. In fact, that'll be it for the bulletin, but I still want us to go over to the Paris Dome and to end the bulletin on that note. My name is Zulai. Thank you very much for watching and have a good night. And enjoy the bit of our Dome praise that we're offering you before we actually bow out. Have a good night.
Today is your day. Today. Somebody receive it. The Bible says that. That's right. Weeping may endure for a night, by joy. I said God will change somebody's story. I don't think that we are about radio so I said God will change your story. Yeah. And then that's yes,